Hey everybody, Newleaf here, and today we're here for my much anticipated adventures of Galacon 2025, and it's all packed up in this one crazy video, so sit back, get your snacks, get your ponies, and get ready to watch it with me. And my journey to Galacon begins here, in the middle of nowhere. Yes, this time I wanted to do something different in order to get to Galacon, so I took this long windy path, and then I realized, wait a minute, you have magic. You can teleport, and so I wound up very quickly right where the login hotel is. This is where we would stay. Seriously, no need for any loud, buzzy, and expensive trains. And before I could even get a proper room tour, we already have Izzy here, who decided the bed was good. Anyway, let's see what it was like to actually discover this room.
And ponies, we are here for our room 203. 2, 3. Oh, we're not getting lost this time. It's our lucky day. In we go. Let's take a look at this little room that we have here. Oh, look at this. We got a kitchen. You're telling us we can make coffee? Oh boy. Look at this massive, massive washroom. This is a huge one. Over here we have, no boy, some electronics. Oh, hey Izzy! You ready to start this convention? Izzy is ready, I'm ready. Let's go and get some food and get ready for a little bit of a meetup, right? Seriously, look at this. Izzy has a bracelet and so do I. We are ready.
Pretty good room. Anyhow, it was time to immediately get going and meet the other bronies, because on Friday evening you usually have the beer garden and there's food and beer there, so we kind of went that way. Look at this amazing sign. Look, it says asphalt. Ha! Ha! Asphalt. Ha! Ha! My god, seriously, that joke is like dozens of years old and it'll never not be funny. Then we found some interesting stickers. Freet or patat. I don't know what either of those means, but I chose Team Freet and just basically started gaslighting everyone. But ponies, eventually, if you don't get sidetracked by the stickers and other pony things, you get to this wonderful river that you have to pass on the way to the construction site. Yes, ponies, this time there was a massive construction site getting to Galacon, but you know what? There's this wonderful stuff that you can touch. We gamers are told to not touch grass, but we touched it anyway, and if you touch it enough, you'll eventually make it to the beer garden anyway. Look at this. This is gonna be a spot that we visit very frequently in this little compilation. And for starts, we got some cider. Look at this. Look at this, how golden that is. But of course, ponies,
There's actually cider. Look at this. Irish cider at that. Here we go.
And over here we have some friends that would sit down with and enjoy the cider. But alas, the food came and it was this. Schnitzel, an all-time classic, which is technically Austrian, but we like to say it is ours, and seriously, it's delicious. It's an all-time classic from around these parts. And together with this massive mug of cider, this is just about as good as an afternoon and evening can be if you have both of these. Then over here we have some beer mugs, which were unattended, and even more beer mugs. Seriously, ponies, a lot of stuff was drunk that evening, and it was gonna be a good time. Also, look at this pony here with the amazing shirt. I still need to find that. I think that Torben makes that. Such a great thing to have. Then over here we have an empty mug. Oh no, but I took this opportunity to not only get my mug filled, but also to have dessert. Look at this. This is Kaiserschmarrn, and it tastes something like this.
Kaiserschmarrn, one of my favorites.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And with another beer to accompany me in these trying times, I was ready to have even more beer. Look at this. This is called a Freibier, and you could like give the pony money so more ponies could have drinks. It was very communal. Look at this. Even the plushies are in on the action. Yeah, seriously, look at this. Even Izzy herself wanted to have some beer. Look at this. He was getting into the different kind of unicorn traditions. Then we have even more plushies over here. Look at this Fluttershy. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is, I think, the most expensive plushie currently out there. She was 13,000 when she got auctioned away at PonyCon Holland last year. Then over here we have 2 more adorable plushies, and here, this massive opaline. I think we found her a bunch of times, unintendedly. This time we found the pony who owns her. Then over here we have...
Mares! Mares! Mares!
Yes, mares were gonna be a common occurrence during this entire weekend, seriously. There's a certain song played at the concert, and y'all know which one. Eventually, after many hours of drinking, and mares, and cider, and eating, we got to go back to the hotel and get some shut-eye. Look at how pretty it was outside there, look at the lights. But Izzy was tired, I was tired, and so we went to bed and woke up to a so hazy morning. Look at this. This is kind of a jinxy one, but to unjinx the morning, we went down here to the Good Life. Seriously, if you want good life, you need breakfast. Seriously, if you don't have breakfast in the morning or your breakfast is terrible, that'll ruin the rest of your day. But if your breakfast is great like this is, your day's gonna be fire. Seriously, we have a little bit of tomatoes, cucumbers, veggies, some sausages on the side. We have eggs if you move down the order. Then over here we have a very large selection of breads. Look at this. Seriously, German breakfasts are variety, if there's one word to describe it. Then over here we have Nutella, some spreads, some jam over there on the corner. You see there's some fruit in the bowl back there. Then we even have our own coffee and cocoa machine. Look at this. Of course we're gonna try some in a hot moment. Then we have cereals, milk, and fruit juice. There is just so much to choose from. And of course I had a mug of cocoa. Look at this. Seriously, is actually, as someone who makes a lot of cocoa on this channel, this is actually pretty respectable. But let's take a look at what I had for breakfast, shall we? We had this here, look at this. We have some eggs, some cake, some sausage, some veggies, some ham, and some watermelon. Then even more bread with even more veggies and more eggs. Look at this, there's chicken nuggets on the plate. That is not pieces of egg. Then we had a castagna where I put some special ham on with some French cheese. Look at that. Very delicious. This was my 3rd plate of food, by the way, but I still didn't feel like I had my fill. So I had a bowl of cereal to go with it. And with this much food, I felt just about ready for Galacon. Izzy was ready. She got some drip. And so we went for it. Seriously, look at this. This is what you got to see every time you go to Galacon. It was super sunny. The weather was absolutely pristine. Oh, look at the sunrise. This is just such a pretty thing. This is like the same waterfall from the previous day. So gorgeous. And here we have a Pinkie Pie head crab as we finally get to the Bürgerzentrum of Weiblingen. This is where Galacon takes place. Look at how ominous this is. This is gonna tell you, hey, you've made a good choice to get up this morning. So let's take a look at some of the plushies. We have a Scootaloo. We have this adorable Daybreaker. Then we have this tiniest of tiny minuets. I like how we go from giant to small. And here we have my ticket to Galacon that you could like pick up early. And let's go along the order because there was a couple more plushies that I found while I was getting that thing signed. We have this biker pony. Then we have Princess Luna. We have, I think this is an OC? I don't know who that is. Then over here we have Princess Celestia. And following along, we have these massive Fluttershy and Twilight just hanging out. Look at how big these are. Look at especially the Fluttershy. This is just like bigger than the person holding it. At that point, you need like a committee to carry that. But this Rainbow Dash also here kind of fits that bill. Super duper ultra mega giant plushie. And here we have the flags of Galacon. That's always a pretty thing. Look at that. Together with the blue skies. That is what paradise is like. But like always, it was tradition. Tony started to make things with crayons on the ground, and of course we're gonna see what that ended up becoming ultimately at the very end. And there was this do not enter sign, which we had to wait in front of until we were allowed to actually go inside. And eventually we did get to go inside. Look at this. Let's start with the merch hall immediately, because that's where all good stories begin. Look at this. We have some sweaters. We have some Pip merch. Look at that. Then over here, we have a pony with an interesting backpack. Look at this. This is like it was playing animations and stuff as the pony was there. Then moving along, we have My Little Ties. That pony has been about at just every convention we've also been to. I think we met him at Everfree even. Look at this. He has cups, he has ties, he has little lighters there on the right side. Then over here we have another interesting pony. This one has a bunch of like cards and stuff. I think that's what they have. Then moving along, we have a familiar face, Heartswarming Con. Seriously, ponies, for those of you who know my lore, that convention means a whole lot to me. A whole lot to me. If you know, you know. Then over here we have this massive Twilight Sparkle plushie. Look at how big that is. That is something where you need like an extra bag just to bring it home. Then down here we have more smaller plushies. Then over on this next little table, or I think this is sort of part of the same table, we have an Applejack and we have Sunset Shimmer. Then look at this massive Opaline. If you can read this, the tag there, it says 2,200 euros if you brought that home. Look at how big that is. That is a massive plushie. Then there are some more plushies. We have a Zip and Pip right next to each other there. Then moving along even further, we have some Rarity, a little bit of Twilight. There's an Annan Filly at the very bottom. Then moving along further, we have scarves and even more plushies. Look at that, we have some hanging plushies. I think these are sort of familiar to the ones that we found at Everfree. But then it was time to go to the merch of all merches, where the biggest merch is to be merched. It is Torben Goldman's room. Seriously has an entire room just for himself. And this time, not only did he have new merch, but he also had new technology. Look at this. There's a screen where you could see what kind of stuff he had in stock, so you could find very easily if you had something you wanted. Then over here we have his little display box that he uses where you can like just see 3D animations of everything. But take a look at this tour of his room.
You can directly go.
Yeah. Yes. You can click into it to look into the fingers. Yeah.
As you can tell, that was an amazing room just for himself. He's come a long way. But what's even more amazing is the opening ceremony, and part of the reason we even came out here to Weiblingen is the beginning of Galacon. Look at this. Every pony was ready for this convention. You see, the hat was missing. That was sort of the running gag. Look at this. There also was an animatic. You can see the full version of it on their channel, I believe. Look at this little clippy.
Ah, this year's theme. How convenient.
Seriously, I don't know if fall damage is...
If I hadn't helped you, you might have fallen.
Galacon! Galacon! Galacon!
And of course we had to have our introduction of guests, the people that make this convention even more fascinating. We have Elley Ray, we have the voice of Luna, which of course is the lovely Tabitha St. Germain. And over here, I thought things are about to get a little creepy. This looked like an alien invasion for a second, but as the curtain, that's not even a curtain, but as the curtain lifted itself, I started to get flashbacks. And that is because, indeed, this was the acrobat from the previous iterations of Galacon. Look at this. Seriously, they did like this performance where they went up these little fabric things, and as someone who's about as acrobatic as a rock, I would not have been able to do any of that without taking fall damage. But let's take a look at some of this performance. pretty magical, dare I say. But there's one more guest to make this all complete, otherwise we simply cannot begin Galacon. And, yes, of course it is Canny, and she did the ritual of all rituals.
Enjoy yourselves. 3, 2, 1.
Peace out!
Enjoy Galacon!
And with a good bizam, we were able to finally begin Galacon at last. Look at this. This is what it's like when people get ready to explore this convention. And we went back into the dealer's hall. Look at this. More plushies for us to admire. Then here's some interesting stuff. I think these were some crochets. I think that's what that is. Then we have some stickers, we have some frames, we have surprise bags there at the bottom there. Then moving along, we have this ginormous Misty plushie. This is also according to the theme of Galacon, which was steampunk. So that was doubly awesome, but what was awesome as well was the first panel, which was also a workshop, and Lyra told us about this. Now it looks like cryptic instructions is actually a bracelet workshop. Look at this. So it begins by getting a whole bunch of things that you want to put into your bracelet. Look at this. There's some more. And then you put all of these into the little cups that you see there. And that's basically your harvest. And there's mine. And you use that to make your own bracelet. Look at this. And I began, of course, making easy. Look at what I did here. I kind of made a double bracelet because I felt I wanted to do something extra. I didn't get to finish it in the time frame, unfortunately, but we might be doing this on the channel at some point as a bit of a gimme. But after this, it was time to once again head out into the dealer's hall. Look at this. There's Digimon for anyone who's forgotten about them. Then over here we have some lights, I believe. Very interesting. They have G5 ones as well. Also, like always, if there's something we bought, it will appear at the end. Then here we have an assortment of buttons and coasters and cards. Then moving along, we have a Luna and Celestia plushie, part of a raffle though. So you could like buy tickets and see if you got it. I think I got something, but I got one of the tickets, but we didn't like get the plushie. Then over here we have even more plushies to go around. Take a look at this Opaline, and there's an OC, I think. I don't know who that pony is. But it was time to hit the gaming room. Look at this. Equestrian War, My Little Pony Pinball. It feels like pony gaming is finally being recognized around these parts. Seriously, they had a very big room. We might apply for a panel talking about games next time, see if we get in. I think we got a fair chance at making it. We just gotta not fumble it. And then over here was a peek at some of the games. You have Minecraft, yes, the build where they built all of Ponyville in G4. I think that was one of the older ones. That was there. Then over here, we have this, a QR code from the My Little Pony mobile game. The developers were present at that convention. What a glorious thing to see the ponies behind the game that we've played over a decade. Much like this one, Ashes of Equestria, the development build that was released very recently, was also at Galacon. We also had inside jokes. Look at this. Chicken jockey, haha. No one brought an actual chicken, thank goodness. Over here we have a pinball table, an actual pinball table at Galacon. Only Galacon does this kind of stuff. Then over here we have karaoke, the game of all games, and seriously we had a pretty good time there. But it was time to go on to sort of an ending of a panel. I kind of caught like the last 15 minutes of this, but this was like talking about a sub-fandom. There was like a bunch of pony people who like cars. Look at this. They talked about the many vehicles inside of the show, and how a lot of them had like actual pony cars. This is kind of in the same spirit as the Sip Civic, for those of you who know them. But then it was time to go back to karaoke, not be interrupted, except for when Izzy got the microphone and wanted to sing. Very amazing. Then it was time for line con, and who were we in line for? It was Elley Ray once again for the second time this year. Yep, she did recognize me. For those of you wondering, she did recognize me being there again, seriously. I think half like the guests from Everfree just were at Galacon. It was nice to see all these faces a second time. Seriously, we need to cut on the spending next year. Then it was time to go outside because people need food. Look at all this ponies here. We have some Applejack blanket with a whole lot of plushies. And the food that we were about to eat, well, we have to sing to earn it. Listen to this.
Winter wrap up, let's finish our holiday cheer. Winter wrap up, cause tomorrow spring is here,
Yeah, singing this walking through town is such a massive, massive vibe, and we got a lot of people looking at us. But here, we have the food in question. It is pizza. Look at this. This is actually amazing pizza. Look at the crust on that. That is traditional Italian pizza if I've ever seen some. And of course, I got pineapple and ham on it just to bring home that we're not entirely traditional. Izzy thought that was a pretty amazing combination. Seriously, here's how big my Izzy actually is compared to some of the other giant plushies. Is not that big, but yeah, if you had this massive Applejack, that's how you get a bit of a workout on that weekend. But we got every plushie together, and it was nice to just chat with everyone, see what they have to say. And after our food, it was time to get back immediately. What are we getting back for? You know it. It's the concert. There it is. Look at this set. I don't know how to play an instrument. I know how to play mayonnaise and horseradish as an instrument, but here's our actual first band. It is Luna Jax and Forever Free Brony on stage playing some of our amazing songs. Look at the set that they have. It was a very nice thing. Then here we have some plushies also listening to the vibes. And here we have some humans doing interesting dances. But seriously, this is about one of my most anticipated moments of the entire weekend. And it was the Mayor song, of course.
So happy by your side, can't believe it's true.
And this was my reaction to the Mayor song and a very specific moment. Listen to some of the snippets, and I did also lose my voice during this.
That smells goes for Mayor.
We zat nog op de deur ermee.
You guys.
If you couldn't tell, I had an absolute blast during that song. My voice disappeared, so I had to bring it back with some cold drinks. Probably not the best suggestion to do, but what we actually did after that for a little bit of a break, yeah, Izzy was like, we should play something with the ponies. And that is right, what goes better with cold drinks than video games? Nothing does. This is Philly Astray, which we conveniently defeated in the span of a couple minutes, maybe.
And we've just casually defeated the game. Oh, it's time to karaoke, hear that?
Still there's a heart you'll ever feel like it break. Would you believe that I've always wished I could be some pony else?
And after crushing the competition in karaoke for the 10th time that evening, it was time to go to the Chill Out Lounge and the community stage. And what did we do? We played more games with a bunch of ponies there that were playing Puno. You know the game, we played it on the channel. And we got to play it with them. Look at this hand. See, this is how you make enemies. And you know what the worst thing is? I went on this massive winning spree, and people started to like pick on me and were like, New Leaf is winning too often, and then this happened.
We gotta change the color.
Why you gotta change the color?
You've won the last round, so.
Oh yeah. Oh. Turns out you were never winning.
Yeah, after winning like 10 more rounds in quick succession, it was time to head back to the music stage. And yeah, there was some technical difficulties, but you know what? Sometimes that is all part of the plan, ponies. And so we had a different kind of dance in mind, and it was called the lay light dance. Over here we have Korak, an absolutely amazing person who plays dozens and dozens of instruments, but also brings great vibes. Then it was time to once again go back to karaoke to round out the night.
To travel to a future that I can see.
And before you know it, Galacon is clad in nocturnal light. Look at the blue lights, look at the moon, but also look at all the crayon arts that have appeared. Over the course of the day, we have this glorious Rainbow Dash and the My Little Pony logo. What a good way to say goodbye to the Bürgerzentrum for day one. Even Princess Luna was out showing her gratitude. You got approved by Princess Luna, that's a pretty good thing. Seriously, the moon being out all the time, one of the best things about this time of the year. You know, Izzy and me both were in agreement. It is too early to go to bed, so we hung out a little bit in the hotel lobby, had some more stiff drinks, and by the time we couldn't talk anymore and sung instead, we realized it's time to go to bed and head over for day two. Look at this. A little bit of a better morning, no fog, but breakfast aplenty. Look at this. We have a little bit of a bread thingy. We have some, what is that? I think those were some frikadellen. I think those are like mini meatball things. Then over here we have Nutella and cheese, which are put on top of each other. Seriously, people, if you've never tried this combo before, give it a try. You'll thank me later. It's underrated, but it's delicious. Then we have some more sausages, some more cheese, veggies. We have eggs. This is what breakfast is made of. And over here, I did a little bit of a twist because I put cereal at the bottom and yogurt at the top, so you could dig into it and discover the cereal, which offered some interesting texture. And with this hot cocoa, I decided to put some leftover Nutella in it to give it that extra kick of sugar. Seriously, sugar is one of the best ways to wake up. It is not healthy, but it is delicious, so we do it. Izzy was bright and ready. Look at the sun shining on her horn. That is an amazing effect. Almost looks like I edited that in. Shoutouts to Princess Celestia. And this day 2 was ready to begin. Yeah, look at this. We were all back in ready for day 2 and immediately got back inside. We also got to take a look at some of the other conventions. Hops Feather Fest, hot contender for something we visit next year. We also had Epona Fest, which we visited early this year. And here's this. Look at the Opaline. This is the Opaline from the previous day, but actually the price was down. It was down to 1,600 now, so a little bit of a life hack. If you're trying to buy something at convention, sometimes waiting is a way to get the price lower. But that, of course, comes with the risk of someone buying it before you can get it. Then over here we have some more. Look at this. Galacon 2013, I believe that was my first. Galacon 2023. And over here, look at this. We got it back for Izzy so it could carry her properly. That was a nice thing. And we went over to some more karaoke for a little bit just to get yourself warmed up. Seriously, if you want to wake up, sing, and dance in the morning along with my breakfasts, you'll be hyper. And here's the current banner of Galacon. Seriously, that's an amazing artwork. As someone who loves ancient gears from Yu-Gi-Oh! This is an absolute thing I love. Then here we have a paper banner. And this is one where you can draw random things on it and eventually get sold out in the auction. Like all the times. It's almost a tradition at this point, really. And here we have a very amazing banner. Look at this. These are all mascots from existing pony conventions. Even ones that aren't around anymore. I see Ember there, right under the friendship sign. Unfortunately, some conventions are not around anymore, which is super sad. But what isn't sad is this panel over here. We got to see a little bit of it where they told us about OCs. Just make sure... the bottom line is to make realistic OCs that are relatable. I think that's what this boils down to. You can do whatever you want, but be able to, back it up when people ask questions. Then we had some more fursuits that we ran into. Look at these two very adorable ponies. Then I was back in the gaming room, Rainbow Dash Attack, a game that we played on the channel and where I had to beat someone for money for it at some point as well. So I was ready to set a little bit of a high score, and I don't think that was beaten throughout the weekend. Then I took a look at this, Equestria War. I had to sort of hotfix someone's playthrough because they were like getting defeated. So I had to do that. And after getting this done, I went back outside and look at this. The crayons have evolved and multiplied. Look at the Rainbow Dash and the Scootaloo over there. Very nice. Ponytown was also present. Then we have some more fursuits. Look at those two. Those two are super adorable. It's great to see them out. Seriously, if you've ever worn one of these, it gets extremely warm inside of them. And if you know one thing, stay hydrated inside of them. But it was time to hit to the final stretch of Galacon, which is the charity auction. And at the charity auction, we get to, of course, meet the charity, which is Make-A-Wish. We've donated to them a couple times, because people still can't beat me my gaming show, but also, it was nice to hear about their mission, because they want to make a difference for many children and grant them an amazing wish and give them confidence. Here we have the wish journey, which is an interesting thing and shows us sort of the process and how they make it happen. But now it was time to see all of the auctionable items. We're going to go through some of these, but it was also nice to see AC Racefest, who I don't think was ever ready for the kind of shenanigans that happened during these auctions, but we'll get through it. So let's begin this off with a tea can, a Pinkie Pie tea can. But yeah, this is a horrible graphic, but this time they had like a bit of a high score list. Then over here we have a Sea Bronies plush, which I think also happened around this weekend. Then we have the Candy book art, which was an art form that I didn't even know existed. Then here we have an acrylic standee. Very adorable. Then we have a plush of a convention which also doesn't exist currently. The Unity plushie. Then we have another acrylic standee. This one is of rarity, of course. Then here we have Flower plushie, which is from a certain animatic. If you know, you know. Moving along, we have a checkers board, but I'm pretty sure you could also play chess on it if you're feeling adventurous enough. Then we have what I think is one of the best items ever to be auctioned, Charity, which is literally rarity as a chair. I love that one. Then we have a quilt. Look at how massive this thing is. This is a quilt that is so big it needs multiple people to hold it. I think there was someone on the table just to be able to show it off in all its glory. Seriously, shoutouts to all these volunteers. They are what make the convention run for anyone who's ever stood behind the lines of a convention. Here we get a bit of a better view. Then it is time for the meme of all memes, the steampunk Fanta, bringing back a little bit of Fanta vibe. Seriously, there's an interesting origin story about Fanta and how it was like found. The meme basically originated because I think it was Jan Animations forgot his Fanta somewhere and it was like just stood there, and that's how the meme was born. Then we have Andy Price, who auctioned some pages of his away, but with those pages you got something additional, and we're gonna see that in just a hot moment. Here we have some paintings of Galacon mascots, and this is a shout out to another convention that we might visit next year, Norse HorseCon, and they auctioned a ticket off. I don't know what comes with this ticket, what perks, but this one's also a hot candidate for me to visit it next year, because it's a new convention. Gotta show it some love. It's also not far from me either. And here is what you get for getting those prints with Andy Price is kisses. Yep. Welcome to Galacon. For those of you who don't know how crazy this convention is, this is some of the more tame stuff to go around. Then we had, actually that was not a real item. We were convinced it was though. People tried to get that thing signed. Then over here we have an actual plushie, which was also equipped with its own hat, so conveniently enough it went for a lot of cash. Then over here we have an Alphabeetle plushie, I think the first of its kind that I've ever seen. Then here we have a cup made entirely out of pistons, I believe. I don't know what pistons are, I only know them from Minecraft. Then here we have a poster art, very adorable, and look at that, you see Camelot there in the background. Then go over here to this one. This is a 1990s Fanta can. There's a good chance that can is older than some of you people watching. Yeah, if you want to try expired Fanta, there's your chance, but this went away for hundreds of dollars, so it's I guess it has a lot of sentimental value to go with it. Then over here we have the banner from earlier where we got to draw on. It was auctioned away. And here we have another uncanny item. Yeah, if you're wondering, where's the item? Oh, AC Race Best is holding it. Of course, bubble wrap was auctioned away for hundreds of dollars as well. Then it was time for the item of all items. It is Perry's hat. And this is what it looks like when Perry's hat is sold. Look at him just pointing at the person. Congratulations. You've lost thousands of dollars for a hat. The best financial decision you will never be able to explain to everyone. Then over here, this person lost their shirt as the next uncanny item. We also had Elley Ray auctioning off her shoes of all things. And that was the conclusion of the charity auction. Seriously, thank the people for the effort. And seriously, shoutouts to Pear for being able to keep her voice for like 2 hours. That would destroy me. And then it was time to reveal the total. It was, I think, 35,000 plus some extra that came in at the end, which was a very impressive feat. And what's also impressive is the sheer amount of people involved in the organization. Look at these wonderful faces. These are the people that you barely even see, but that are making this convention possible every year. So rightfully, they deserve all the Galacon shouts that we could possibly muster. You see the red shirts here, these are the volunteers, but then it was time for an announcement. That is the next Galacon. Are we gonna be there? It is very, very likely that we're going to be there. But on the way out, before we could make an outro, I kind of got mugged. Not really mugged, but like swarmed by like 5 fursuits. But it was super fluffy, so I didn't mind. Anyway, it was time to go outside and see the faces of all the people who visited it. Of course, the attendees are what make the convention shine as it does. Look at this, here we have another view. And here we get a bit of a better view. Look at this massive lawn with all the people. This is everyone, this is organizers, this is volunteers, and also the flags at the right. You see that there's Norwegian flag, you see the Swedish flag. All these nationalities come together for something inspiring, and with that...
And that, people, is the end of Galacon 2025. Look at all those people. These are the reason why this stays awesome. All these people make it amazing. It's something to come back to. And of course, you've seen it. You've seen the teaser. 2026. I'll be back.
And like the Terminator says, we may very well be back. But in a way, we did have to get back to Equestria like always. So before we did that, we couldn't, of course, leave without taking all the schnitzels and mayonnaise, because that's jinxy. And Izzy and Sunny were like, we don't want to go back, but we did have to eventually go back. And so we went back, but of course, like always, we have a certain guest doing the outro for us, so stick around. And also, I gotta show off the merch that I found at the convention. And here we are at the outro. Let's go through our merch real quickly. It wasn't that much, but that is because we still have 2 conventions to go through and we need to fund those somehow. So, on the top right, we have a pillow cover with Izzy. Then moving along at the top, we have an Izzy sweater and an Izzy carrying bag that you saw in the video. Then at the top center, you see a Hitch and a Sunny figurine. Then at the bottom, you see an Izzy playing mat. Then at the bottom left, you see an Izzy magnet with a Hitch magnet and a Sunny magnet. And then there's also this tiny Izzy sticker. I don't have any favorites for anyone trying to tell me Izzy's my favorite. No way is that a thing. Anyway, ponies, and with that, I thank all you lovely ponies so much for watching, and it is time for the outro done by Grandma Figgy herself.
Oh, hello, every pony. Oh, we are here in Germany at Galacon. Oh, it's so exciting. I just love all the ponies here. And New Leaf is thrilled to be here too. Hello, New Leaf. You're so gorgeous. Look at our New Leaf. And he is enjoying some time with every pony. And Wishy Hoof is coming soon. So you should stay tuned. Oh, and please subscribe subscribe immediately because it is my favorite pony. Stay tuned for the next sparkly trip. Oh, it's UK PonyCon. Say it with me, every pony. UK PonyCon. I said UK PonyCon. I just love it. Oh, I just love it all.